Okay, so this week's Payday 3 livestream and blog post revolve around the new Fortitude Skill Line and Adrenaline system. But before we jump into those, let's talk about some changes coming to existing skills. Clean Slate will replace Disengage as the mastery skill for the tank line, allowing you to replenish one armor chunk if you have none using an armor repair kit, and consequently, Disengage will become the mastery skill for the Escapist line, with Swift, the previous Escapist mastery skill, being the 5th upgrade available for that line. So Swift is still in the Escapist line, it's just no longer the mastery skill. The Misdirect skill has been changed and now grants a 10% chance for marked enemies to not deal any damage providing you have a rush. So that's actually our first taste of dodge in Payday 3, and finally, Kinetic Short Circuit now allows you to replenish one ECM jammer for every Zapper battery that you destroy. In the past there have been some relatively low impact skill changes, but I actually think these are all quite meaningful, and it shouldn't be too difficult to fit these into your builds, at least not now with the new cap of 28 skill points. That's 7 more than there currently are, and this table shows how the skill points are going to be distributed amongst the infamy levels. Now for the Fortitude skill line, and I think this is the most exciting skill line to be added to the game as a whole, so let's see what it's all about. The titular Fortitude skill itself increases your base maximum health by 50, as well as granting or refreshing grit whenever you heal 2 or above maximum health, and when aced, increases your maximum number of downs by 1, as well as reducing your bleed out time by 50%, and its mastery skill Stockpile increases the number of charges your deployable bags have by 2, and it's important to note that these 2 charges are added before Deep Pockets. This skill line also has 5 upgrades. Health Siphon. Whenever a crewmate heals using your medic bag, you heal for 40% of the amount that they healed. And of course, if this heals you above full health, the rest is converted into adrenaline. Unyielding, which increases your maximum health by 15 for each down you have. Supraphysiological, which increases the amount of adrenaline you gain by 10% for each down that you have. Walking Tall, which slows your adrenaline decay by 25% for each down that you have, and allows you to use first aid kits to pause adrenaline decay entirely for 10 seconds. Pain Asymbolia, which doubles the effect of edge, grit, or rush whenever you have adrenaline, and on top of that you take 10% less damage to your adrenaline. What a fantastic skill line. Honestly, I may put the new 7 skill points into this line alone. With the right armor type and some other skills, you can easily double your health, or even go further than that, and by leveraging adrenaline, you can easily increase your health by over 400%. I mean, for anything other than a stealth build, I can't think of a better 1-point investment than Fortitude for the additional 50 health alone. The skill line has changed since we first heard about it. Some small changes, like Walking Tall now allowing adrenaline to decay 25% slower instead of 10%, but some more noticeable changes like the complete overhaul of Pain Asymbolia. Initially, having active buffs would just reduce the amount of adrenaline damage taken. Now it works entirely differently. The Fortitude skill line is heavily impacted by the number of downs you have, and therefore lends itself to lighter armor types, and can be synergized with other skill lines like the medic line to make medic bags a more powerful asset. But at its core, Fortitude revolves around adrenaline. So what is adrenaline? Previously referred to as overheal, adrenaline is additional temporary health granted to you if you heal over your maximum health, which at base is 100, so with 100 health you can overheal yourself to 200 health using medic bags and first aid kits, and that second 100 health is your temporary adrenaline, which is displayed as a green bar over your health. And if, for example, you've increased your base health to 225 using the Fortitude skill line, you can overheal by an additional 225 health for a staggering total of 450, which is a lot more than the default 100. This adrenaline is your first layer of defense, so when taking damage, you'll lose your adrenaline, then your armor, and then your health. Initially, Starbreeze had it so that your adrenaline stood as a buffer between your armor and health, but as it's a time-sensitive resource, I think having it deplete first is by far the best idea. Adrenaline decays at a rate of 1 adrenaline point every 2 seconds, but if you take damage, this decay is paused for 6 seconds. And again, the Fortitude skill line affects these numbers, allowing you to slow the rate of adrenaline decay further. Despite it being somewhat obvious, I feel like I should mention that while the Fortitude skill line greatly influences the adrenaline mechanic, mechanic, you still have the base adrenaline even if you have no Fortitude skills. As for when this is all coming to the game, remember that the next update has many times been referred to as the April update. And throughout the livestream, Liz said that we'll hear more about this update before the end of March, which leads me to believe that we'll get the dev diary during the last week of March, and then the update will release during the first week of April, which also keeps in line with Starbreeze's current goal of releasing an update every 4 to 6 weeks. So far, we know that this update includes everything that we've discussed in this video, as well as the adaptive armor, which we took a deep dive into last time. But of course, there will be a lot more in the update, we just haven't heard so much about that yet. But as and when we do, I'll be sure to cover it here on the channel. The road to a better Payday 3 is a marathon, not a sprint, and I plan to be here every step of the way. And so if you did go on to enjoy the video, please do consider subscribing. And with that all said, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, drop a like on the video. If you disliked the video, drop a dislike on the video. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you in the next video.